G'day, Greg Miller from The Joy of Wood. I'm just messing around here with a hook knife, just cleaning up this spoon bowl. Thing is, when you're working with some really tough hardwoods, they make the most magnificent spoons, but it's jolly hard work with a hook knife. Moments like these, we need a gouge. So in this video, I'm going to show you a few different ways of how we can use a gouge to hollow the bowl of our spoon. So let's start out with a spoon blank. It's like the ones we make available at our Etsy shop. So first of all, I'm going to draw the line on here to define where that bowl's going to go. Now it always helps to have a line. That line helps us to know where we've been and where we're going. As I come around in here, look at that, beautiful. So I know that's where I'm working to. Okay. So here's my gouge. What is a gouge? A gouge is a chisel with a hollow in it, a curve this way. This particular type has the bevel on the outside, and that's the type we need for bowl carving. And the way I'm going to hold it for this job, and this is using it without a mallet, is I'm going to use this method here. So if I sit that on there, and I'm going to come in here like this. Now you notice the technique, it's a rolling of the wrist. It's just like that. I'm working across the grain and I'm stopping at about the halfway mark. So really important, this hand is never in front. It's off there, out to the side, out of the way. This tool is not being pulled this way, so it shouldn't come here because it's just the rolling of the wrist. So I can come in around here like this. When I want to come from the other direction, I'll turn that around and I'm just going to come in from the other side. That nice rolling action. Now if I was doing this sitting in a chair, I could sit this on my knee and do the same thing. Just using that nice rolling action of the wrist with the thumb up on there makes it work beautifully. So I'll just keep taking that out. So that's how we can use it in that action. Now another way of doing this is to strike it with a mallet. So this is the carving mallet. So if I put in here a dot which sort of marks generally the center of where we're going with that, to strike it with a mallet, I'm going to use a cramp to hold this down onto the bench. That'll hold that nice and securely. All right, so working from my outside line, I'm going to come around here with a series of overlapping hits like this. So I work my way around. So this is defining the outside. And I could just keep going around and around doing this until eventually that big piece comes out in the middle. But I can also, once I've got that started, just change techniques as well. And I'll change to a pairing method. So pairing is where we push the chisel. So in this case, the way I want to hold the tool is like that. So that the handle here is like an extension to this bone. That's the way I want to hold it for pairing, because I need to go in a nice curving action like this. Round we go. So again, I'm working across the grain. Now the job of this hand here is to help keep it engaged back over there. Come around here, away we go. So at the moment I'm pairing with some force just to shift that out of there. Once I get down a bit more, it'll just get a lot easier and I can go in lighter. This is a very tough old piece of timber, but it'll look beautiful when it's done. Right, so The thing to remember is that we are making a bowl, not a cone. So it has to be in a curving path. If I want to make this steeper in the sides, I've got to start with the tool right up here. So I go down and around. So easy, hey? So I'll come in from the other side. Remember, we're mostly working across the grain. So that's that method. We're using a cramp. If you have a vise on a bench, an alternative way of doing it is to put it into the vise like this. So I'm holding the handle and I've got that sitting down on top of there. I can use my mallet and gouge this way. There's a bit of stress on that handle doing that when we're working across. So I can also do the paring, but it held in here. Around we go. So the trick with this is making sure that you start up high enough and go around in that nice sweeping cut. So really tough woods, very dense woods, you'll get almost a glassy finish off a nice sharp gouge when you do this. So I've just got to dance around it a bit while I work my way in. And of course, spoon carving is a very tactile process, so we're going to use the finger a lot to feel what's going on. I use my finger calipers underneath here to just check the depth. Oh, beautiful. Now if I wanted to, once I've done this, I could always come in with my hook knife to clean that out. Sometimes that worked really well. Sometimes it's better just to go in with a gouge and then use a spoon scraper for this job. Okay, so what I'm going to do is show you how we can use a spoon scraper to help hollow this out or to clean it out and make it beautiful. So we've done the work in there with the gouge. You might even have done that with a hook knife, but we're going to come in then with a scraper. We sell these on our Etsy shop. I make them from old saw blades. So it's got two different radius curves on here, so I'm going to get the right curve for the job. So down here on our spoon, we've got it clamped onto the bench, and I'm going to use the scraper to come around in here to clean this surface. Now, the way to do this, working with the grain, if you divide this up into quadrants like this, so it doesn't tear, in that corner we have to go that direction. In this corner we go that direction. That one we go that way, that one we go that way. So that's the direction I need to go. If I use the wide one in this, it's going to chew away at the top edge because it's a bit big for this job. So I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to use the other edge. This has a burr rolled on the edge here, which means it cuts like a plane. So there I am over on that side. So this method here, I'm laying that down and pulling it around, and we want to see all those little shavings coming out. The other method is to put my thumb behind it and go that way. Don't be worried about bending the steel. It's spring steel from the saw blade, it can handle it. We've just got to get that burr down there on the right angle. And as we go in here, you'll see the spots where there's an extra dent in there from the gouge. So that just means I've got to take that down a bit more. But what it'll help us to do is to get that beautiful even curve coming around in there. So as I work away with that, that'll do a fantastic job of evening that curve right up. So there you go. That's how we use a spoon scraper to clean out the bowl of our spoon. I hope that's been helpful, using a gouge to do a lot of that work in those really tough woods where it's a bit hard to use the hook knife. See you in the workshop. Cheers.